Hi, good morning and welcome to Nuage Academy. Today we will learn about Security Group. Security Group is also called as a virtual firewall in Amazon Web Services. So if someone talk about virtual firewall, then they are meaning about Security Group. I have a server and my server is connected to the network through a network cable. Okay. So logically speaking, the security, whenever you launch a server in AWS, that is EC2 instance, without a security group, you cannot launch a EC2 instance. Remember that. You cannot skip that step. Security group is a mandatory when you are launching a server. Logically speaking, that security group will be sitting here in your where the entry point for your traffic into your server. Logically it will be sitting here. It is a virtual firewall, so by name itself you understand that it's a virtual where you cannot touch and feel that. So this security group will have a inbound rules and outbound rules. So this is a screenshot of an inbound rule where HTTP traffic is allowed on port 80 and this is all 0. That means 0.0.0.0/0. It means the traffic is allowed from anywhere from the world. Any valid IP will be allowed to reach the server. If there is a request, assume that if this server is sitting in US and there is a request coming from Australia, and yes, the traffic will be allowed. So from any valid device, the traffic will be allowed if the request comes in. So that is the rule denotes. So here there is a second rule also allowing HTTP and it's in port 80 and it is denoted as :/0. It means it is IPv6 version. This is 4 version. Remember that. So this is the inbound rule. So all my traffic is allowed, that is HTTP traffic is allowed to this server if I attach this security group to this server. And there is an outbound rule where all traffic can go out of this server in all ports and all zeros. So now you know the IPv4 representation, how to denote anywhere it can go. So this is how you will be representing that. So here from the server, if whatever goes out, it can go anywhere to valid clients in the world. So that is the outbound rule denotes. And security group is also called as a stateful firewall. Stateful. So what is meant by stateful? Stateful firewall. So whatever comes in, it is allowed to go out. So that is stateful firewall. So let us demonstrate this stateful meaning. So most of them believe that the HTTP traffic is coming into the server. Here the rule is allowing, in the inbound rule is allowing the HTTP, so it goes out, and HTTP in outbound rule, HTTP is all traffic is allowed, so HTTP is going out. It is not the case. So that is stateful. That is whatever comes in, irrelevant of the outbound rule. Okay, whatever comes into the server, irrelevant of the outbound rule, this will go out. So I want to demonstrate that for your better understanding. I have a server called my dev server, development server is up and running, which is configured as a web server. And this is while launching this server, this is the security group attached to this server. The name of the security group is NoRuleSG. So let me click on that. So it will take me to the particular security group. So this security group inbound rule allows the HTTP where the traffic can come from anywhere, and this is a representation of IPv6. Okay, and outbound rule represents all traffic. Fine. Okay, so let me go back to my server. This is my server. Let me copy the public IP of the server. Let me place it in my browser. this is, I am just sending a request to this server, web request. It is a HTTP request I am sending. See the response, I am getting response from that server. Okay, this is the response. You can see that, right? Because my security group allows the HTTP port to go in, that is the traffic can go enter the server and it comes back. Okay, so now what I want to do is, let me go back, let me go to security group. I'm going to create a new security group. Okay, create a new security group. Let me call it as demo security group, shortly called as SG. Let me copy the same for description. And here, when you create a new security group, see here, there is no inbound rules. If you use a default security group, there will be an inbound rule. But when you create a new security group, there is no rules. So let me create the security group. Let me see my security group from the dashboard. Where is my demo security group? It is here. Okay, this is the one. So inbound rule is nothing. It means if you attach this security group to a server, then there is by default all traffic is blocked. Remember that. If there is no inbound rule, by default when you create a security group, there will not be any inbound rule. Okay, if that is the condition, then all traffic will be blocked. So let us examine that now first. Let me go to my server. Let me go up to instances, and this is my server. Let me go to actions. Let me go to networking, change security group. Let me remove the existing security group which allows HTTP traffic. Let me remove that. Let me attach my newly created security group, demo SG, which is not having any inbound role. Okay, let me assign the security group. So my server is having a new security group, and this is my old request with the old security group. Let me refresh this page and see what happens. See, it's sending the request, but there is no response from the other end. So it is going on and on. And after timeout period comes in, so it is going to give me a page not found error, or so site can't be reached. Too long to respond. Why? Because our security group doesn't have the required inbound rule. So when you create a security group, by default all inbound traffic is blocked. That is the one thing. So let me go back to my security group. Let me go back to my security group, demo SG. Let me edit this rule. Let me add a HTTP traffic. HTTP port 80. So from anywhere, that is fine. Description, I can say HTTP traffic is allowed from anywhere. Right. Save it. So this is the group is currently attached to my server. Let me go and refresh it. See, I got my web page back because the server is accepting the request and it's sending back. Let me show you something again. Let me go to outbound rule. Okay, let me edit this rule. Okay, and remove this rule. Let me save it. See here, the outbound rule is empty, nothing is there. So many of the students will not be having this idea. They will be thinking that there was outbound rule for all traffic is allowed. So that is the reason I am getting the response back. it is not the case. Let me refresh the page again. See, I'm getting back the request. So if it is not properly you're not to see, let me close it. Let me close this page. Let me open it in a new browser, different browser, Firefox. Let me paste it, the IP of the server. See, still I am getting the request even though I don't have outbound rule. So that is why security groups are also called as stateful firewall. So it means it understands. So what is stateful firewall? Let me grab my pen. So this is my network connection. I have my security group. So stateful firewall is whatever traffic is allowed, it went into the server, that is remembered by this security group and it will allow that rule automatically. You don't want any outbound rule for this HTTP traffic to come out. So that is called stateful firewall. Okay. So then why you want outbound rule? Okay, that is another question. So outbound rule is required whenever your server want to communicate to any other particular server, or maybe you will be having a backup agent running in your server. So this backup agent will be contacting the master server for backing up the data. So that can be specifically mentioned in your outbound rule, and so that traffic will go out. Whenever there is a traffic initiation from your server, then it will refer the outbound rule. If there is anything coming from the outside world, that will be referred in the inbound rule. Okay, remember that. So for any particular service, if your server wants to contact it, and if you want your server to be more your server don't want to talk to any other servers, and you want to restrict that, then you can control it with your outbound rules. So that is the different. And remember that security group is also called as virtual firewall, and also it is also called as stateful firewall. Okay, so for stateless firewall, we have a network access control list. So that will be a stateless firewall which needs rule for inbound as well as outbound. Then only the traffic will go out. That we will discuss in a session. Hope you got better idea and clear understanding of what is a security group. Thanks for watching, and for your information, we are commencing a new batch on 5th May. If you want to learn more, feel free to call us and enroll for our upcoming batch. Thank you.